Hi, I'm Marjorie Jean-Paul. I'm the Director of Alumni Relations and Development at Buckley Country Day School. I volunteer with the New York State Association of Independent Schools, and I'm on the planning committee for the Institutional Advancement Group. I'm also the director of our archive program here, and I've been here for 4 years. And prior to joining Buckley's school community, I was at another private school for 10 years. And before that, I was a management consultant for 15 years.
Thanks for being on, Marjorie. I just have a few questions for you to kind of lay the groundwork. What was the main reason or reasons you began to look into digitization for Buckley?
In the case of Buckley, we were looking at how we were going to provide access for our alums who are all over the United States and around the country, around the world, I should say. And we thought if we had the files digitized, that would be a way for us to, one, be able to actually work with it in new and unique ways, but then also that we could provide access to the broader community that are interested in connecting with the school and its history.
And was there an element of preservation, or is it mainly, like you said, for access and alumni relations, that kind of thing?
Absolutely, that's a big part of it. We are a close to 100-year-old school, and we have some really delicate documents, original documents about the school, pictures and things like that, that over time, you can imagine it starts to deteriorate. And we were really looking at how can we also hold on to the originality of the piece and preserve it for our school community.
And what about IDI stood out and eventually caused you to award us with your business?
Well, we started small with IDI. We started first with our yearbooks. And we have a unique history, a unique tradition here at the school. Every graduate carves their own plaque, and it's posted throughout our school. So we engaged in a process about 5 years ago to take pictures of each and every one of those plaques. And IDI was very helpful in helping us to come up with a website for simply just our yearbooks and these plaques, and it grew out of that. And I would say that the big thing in working with our partners at IDI is that they were open to looking at how to make the website with the yearbook and the plaques something that was usable, something that was accessible, and they were open to looking at different possibilities with us. And it was something we were developing as we went, and they were a great partner.
Very glad to hear that. We've loved working with you, as you know.
Yes.
You provided us with so much feedback that you've actually allowed us to build out our web development department. So we've mutually enjoyed the benefits of working with Buckley.
We have over 50,000 photos that were scanned. We have tens of thousands of original documents that were scanned as well. And we now have a functional website where over the course of the last 3 years, we've been able to actually catalog it and release 20,000 photos and create a full process of reviewing the photos, of releasing them. And as I mentioned, everyone at IDI has been great in trying to work with us to make it something that's usable on the end of our alums and also our staff here at Buckley.
If any, what were some challenges you experienced during the process of taking the physical archive into the digital database?
The enormity of the project, 50,000 documents and photos, original. I would say that was one of my concerns. Once it left the building, it was just like, there's no copy. There's no cut and paste and recreate something from 1923. So I have to say that leading up to it, actually putting it in the buckets that we needed and the categories that we needed was a big process. But once the IDI crew came with the boxes, I just felt like there was a lot of care and recognizing that these are like 100-year-old documents. There's no other copy. So there was a real, I felt respect for what we were sending. And out of that, felt a confidence that we would get everything scanned, and that the extra step that was also taken in terms of actually giving us a list, a composite of everything that was scanned, and through that we were able to move to the next step, which is create the website that we have now.
How valuable is it to you to have the archive? You have the student records also digitally scanned, at least the first section,
Yes.
and especially with as we continue to navigate COVID-19, how has that played a role in it?
It's been incredible in terms of we started to run out of physical space for all of the student records that we had. So it just became a need for freeing up space. And at this point, we have a big chunk of our student records that have been scanned and now are digitized. And we're working on continuously updating that, but to have it in a digital form, it makes it so easy. It's at our fingertips. We're able to find that information and work with it in ways that going through the physical files would have just been a bigger project.
And the final question for you, how has the conversion that IDI did for Buckley and student records and the archives impacted future funding, donations to the development department, alumni department, and what are your plans to expand on that using the tools?
We use the archive as an engagement tool with our alumni community and our past parents in particular. And through the work that we've done with the archive, and there's, with fundraising, there's not always that direct, okay, you did this, now that, but it's a part of that bigger picture of creating community, creating ways and touch points with people that develop relationships that then lead to gifts. We've had our alums in particular, there's an alum that was very interested in us preserving our archive and has been very instrumental in making that possible in terms of funding specifically. So that's a direct, being able to show progress in a big project like this, and that we were able to scan and digitize all of our archive, our full archive room that we had, and close to 100-year of materials and documents and photos and things like that. So because we were able to show that progress, it really gave our alum confidence to support us in that way. But in addition to the direct, gift that came out of that work that we're doing, we've also used the archive for our alumni reunions. When we have reunions, we use it to personalize our outreach to our alums. I've used the archive and pictures to find, sometimes, there's one picture that might have been taken at a special event that didn't make it into the yearbook that maybe they saw one time. So I've used those kinds of things as cards to say thank you, or cards to invite them to come to events. And the feedback that I've received time and time again is the appreciation of the personal touch, to be able to pull old pictures like that, the nostalgia that it creates. And, so it's been a win-win situation. And it's because it's digitized, it makes it so easy. So, in many of private schools development office, we have very few staff people to help. And so even this idea that I'm giving might be tough. Like, how am I going to run the event and do this? But having it online also opened up the opportunity. You could do it anywhere. You could pull the picture. It's, you know, it's a kind of fun event, a fun activity to get to know your alums on off hours, at any hour. So for all those reasons, the digital archive has been an asset that we very much appreciate.